Good evening, good evening. Welcome to Your Mental Health Matters. My name is Crystal Kelly, and I'm your host. And this is brought to you by Our Neutral Voices. All right, ladies, we are back, and we have an amazing topic that we would like to get into. So, tonight we're going to be discussing how to be a licensed mental health counselor. I know there's not too many women of color or people of color that is in this particular field. So we want to kind of dive into our stories of how we became a mental licensed counselor. And then also we would like to dive into someone who's actually in the process of becoming a therapist. And so we have a special guest in the building tonight, and I will allow her to introduce herself.
My name's Michelle Rowland, and I am in the procedure of becoming a licensed mental health counselor. Um, I came from a Baptist background. I'm actually First Lady of Canaan Baptist Church. My husband is Gregory Rowland Sr. And actually, before I got into this field, I was an IT specialist.
Mm-hmm.
Worked as an IT specialist for over 20 some years, and then I'm retiring.
Yeah.
And so, from the retiring part, retiring from Social Security Administration and into this single field and going back to school,
Mm.
I'm like, oh my
To take a
gosh,
breath.
yes, I'm
Yeah.
kind of too old for this to change your
Mm.
career at
Mhm.
this time of age.
Mhm.
But the pandemic
Mm.
Mhm.
is what really got me into it. And
Mhm.
I don't know if you wanted me to continue on. I know you told me to introduce myself,
Yeah.
but I just kind of got started.
No, you're
Yeah. Yep.
fine. We like to hear your story.
And so, well, you want to hear my story? Let me tell you my story. you know.
Tell it. Tell it.
Mhm.
Okay, so how I got started,
Yeah.
it was around the pandemic.
Mhm.
It was to the point, no one, everybody was scared to leave the
Yeah.
house. No one wanted to be around anybody. And so I remember when I was told at work to pack up your laptop and leave the office.
Hmm.
And so we had no warning what was going on.
Mhm.
Everyone just said, just leave and leave now. So I'm packing up, getting everything together, grabbing my laptop, and I look
Mhm.
at the streets are empty. Well,
Mhm.
what's going on? There's nobody in the street.
Right.
So I said, okay, let me stop at the grocery store and gather some food before I go home. There's no food to gather. There's nothing to
Mm.
buy. There's nothing to eat. So here go my first panic attack. Because now
Mhm.
I'm looking at,
Yeah.
these movies you see on TV,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
everything happening. And I'm like, okay, is this the end? Because I didn't know what was
Felt like
going
it.
on.
Right.
It's like, oh my
Mm-hmm.
gosh. And so, I don't know. I guess I didn't expect this to happen,
Mhm.
while you're at work. So anyway, I made it home and I called my husband and he said, yeah, turn the TV on. Turn the TV on. And that's why I heard about COVID and
Mhm.
COVID-19 and everything else and what it was about. And I think it was just the television, everything you were seeing, everybody was dying.
Overwhelming.
Everyone was dying in the hospital. Someone was sick. It was
Right.
just one person after another.
Mhm.
And so I got to the point no one allowed to come to my house. Don't you
Mhm.
come to my door. You
Mm-hmm.
stay away. We sprayed down everything. You came in. So I took all the precautions to stay safe.
Right. Right.
Trying to make sure that I'm safe, my family is safe, and
Mhm.
that we're well.
Hmm.
So all of a sudden, everything started where, it left. You can go out.
Mhm.
So I remember my husband said, come on, let's just get out the house and just drive around a little bit. So we were driving around. There's no one on the streets.
Hmm.
Streets are empty. There's no
Mm-hmm.
one there. And he said, well, we can go to the grocery store now. And here comes this panic attack. Scared to
Mhm.
walk into the grocery store
Mm.
because, I just didn't want to get sick like everyone else.
Right. Right.
And he just told me, we're just going to go in, grab something, and then we're going to leave.
Mhm.
So, try and make a long story short,
Mm-hmm.
um, I just said, okay, I'm thinking I'm making something a molehill out of something that really nothing. This is what I kept saying to myself. So I trying to psych myself up to it.
Right.
Went to my first doctor appointment after all this happened because I hadn't seen the doctor in a long time. Went to my doctor's appointment, had my mask on, sat down, and I remember they saying that if anyone came into the office sick, they was going to make sure that they take them to another room. So okay, I said, okay, if they do that procedure, this is good.
Right.
So I remember going in, sitting down with my mask, and this guy walks in. He's coughing, he's sneezing, he's pouring down, sweating. And I'm looking like, okay, I know they're going to grab him and they're going to take him to the back. That guy decided he's going to sit next to me.
Uh-oh.
Out of all the places in the
Wow.
office,
Yeah.
he decided he's going to sit next to me. So now here I go. I put another mask on, trying to be polite, not being rude, don't get up and walk away. And when they called me to the back, they said, well, why are you here? I said, well, I was here for a wellness check, but I think you might as well go ahead and test me for COVID. And I told them about the guy coming in, and your protocol didn't work because you allow him to walk in and just sneeze and cough all over everybody else. By the time I left that office, not even 2 blocks down, here go me, sneezing, coughing, pouring down, sweating, chills, body aches, you name it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I remember going to my house. My granddaughter was there, and she said, Grandma, what's wrong with you? I said, girl, call your mama and tell you to go. I don't know what's going on. I think I got COVID, So I told her to leave. I went upstairs. I isolated myself in the room, and I stayed in the room. Everybody saying that I was over-exaggerating, you don't catch COVID that fast. My daughter decided to come in the room, sat next to me, and I told her, I said, I need for you to leave. I really believe that I have COVID. And she said, did you get your test? I said, the test was done, but the results ain't back yet. The next day, she calls me. She's coughing, she's sneezing, she's pouring down, sweating, body aching, and then she gonna blame it on me that I got her sick. But after all of that, and I went through the whole procedure of COVID, and yes, I was positive with COVID. This is where everybody was dying in the hospital.
Yeah.
So I refused to go into the hospital. They told me that, you just wait until your lips turn blue before you come in. And that's what happened. My lips turned blue. And I was continuing working. We were working from home. And I was sitting at the computer, and I was continuing working. And then all of a sudden, I couldn't breathe. My lips turned blue. I remember running up the stairs, and I started yelling to my husband, I can't breathe. And I'm trying to get the air out. My face is changing colors. I'm red. My lips are blue, and I'm having a hard time breathing. And I really believe, I thank the grace of the Lord, that running up them stairs did it. It got my chance to open up their lungs to breathe. We turned the shower on and got the heat from the shower. The steam came through, opened up my lungs. My daughter's nebulizer. We used that, and that helped me. But I thought I was over it, but until everything else started affecting me. Everything shut down, organs, everything started shutting down. But it scared me to a point that I never thought that I'd ever be into a point where I was fearful of anything. And then I just started talking about my incident, about what happened to me and where I was at. So my husband said, he said, why don't you go ahead and go into school and be a life coach? Because you can coach someone and tell them your story,
Yeah.
And I didn't know what a life coach was. I didn't know anything about life coaching.
Right.
And I decided to look it up. So I looked it up, found a school. I went to coach training allowances. They had a 6-month program. And I said, okay, I went ahead and paid the fee, and I wanted to see what it was about. Well, I loved it. It was really an eye-opener. I loved the experience. I loved the training. I loved the material. I loved everything about it. And so I started doing this at the church. I started coaching, doing life coaching at church. And this one lady said, do you take insurance? So I said, okay. let me go into this process and say, well, how do you go about getting your insurance? So it took me back to school again, So I had to go back to school for another master. This will be my second master's.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I thought that it would be a way of going back to school and eliminating the master's part and just get the licensure.
Yes.
We thought,
We all thought that.
You know,
We all thought that. Yeah.
I was like, I got to go through all of this all over again, And I'm like, I'm too old for this. Going back to school, and then trying to get your license all over again. And so what I was looking for in counseling was the same setup as life coaching.
Okay.
I love the way life coaching set up, how they, we even though we did it online, we was able to use our skill sets with our students there. We worked with each other and we build our skills.
Right.
I didn't know we had to do multicultural. I didn't know I had to do all this extra stuff outside the box. So it became like, wow, this is a lot. And even the internship, ain't no way in the world I could do my full-time job and do an intern.
Right. Yeah.
But the thing about it, though, what I love about it is the experience. I love the experience. I actually learned a lot through the journey. Very rewarding. I think I learned a lot because we do integration, spiritual integration. So ours is worldview. And to able to put my spiritual aspects into counseling and also with my life coaching.
Right. Right.
So this was very rewarding. I'm glad I took the journey. I'm actually glad that I'm seeing the end of the journey soon.
Very soon.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited about that the journey is almost over. So that I can use the skill sets that the Lord wants me to use in this field, because I don't believe that He allowed me to go through all this for nothing.
That's right. That's right.
Do you have a particular interest or discipline that you want to work with, or are you just open to all aspects of counseling and mental health?
That's a good question. Right now, I am getting a chance to experience it all. More than I really expect. I really love working with couples therapy.
Okay.
I really enjoy that. I enjoy working with groups. I love psychoeducation also, because I believe that's the reason why a lot of us, Black people, won't go to mental health counseling,
Right.
because the education,
Right.
knowledge is very important to understand that why it is important to go to take care of the mental health.
That's right.
Right.
Because if we don't take care of the mind, what's going to happen is going to affect the body.
The whole thing.
Yes.
And we've talked about that a lot.
Yeah.
And yes, and Crystal and I have also mentioned the fact that we don't have enough people that look like us.
That's right.
And that's one other reason why people don't go to therapy and counseling, and then the taboo term counseling, right? So I'd like the term as well, the life coach. And we have to encourage others who are listening and what have you to look into the profession, because what I saw in my training was that, one, I was the only Black in those classes for the master's part of it. And then the other thing I learned was that individuals that were in the class had never been around Black people, Black culture, and yet still they were trying to help them. And I get that, yes, and yes, we need the help. However, sometimes people can only relate to those who look like them,
Yes.
and had the and share the same experiences. Yeah,
That's very true.
yeah. So, congratulations on your upcoming
Oh, thank
finishing,
you.
but you said the journey is over. It's not over. It's not over. It's just kind of
beginning.
starting. But I understand that, because that's pressure
Yes.
to get done with school, whatever your papers or tests and whatever. I know that's a different kind of pressure, but then yes, it does relieve you a lot off your shoulders. However, it gives you a moment to take a breath and then get back at it in a different way.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So
So when it came to schooling, like, how did you decide which program like what's best for you?
Good question.
Yeah.
Actually, I went to I think it was a conference. It was a women's conference. It was Anointing Marriages.
Mm.
And one of the ladies and her husband were talking about their experience in going to school. And she started telling that she went back to school to be a marriage therapist.
Okay.
And I was just I just really caught my attention about the school she went to, and she really started talking about how it was really rewarding and everything else. And so I asked her, I said, "Well, what school did you go to?"
Mm.
And she gave me the name and the information, and I decided to look it up.
Mm.
And it was a fit for me.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. I love
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
So, on your journey, what has been like the most difficult parts of it? If you could identify just like the whole process of going to school, online schooling,
Mhm.
and then on top of that, doing internship. So, yeah, what was some like difficult moments for you, if there were any?
I really believe that it was more of the homework assignments.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Trying to get all this done, the
Right.
case conceptualization,
Yes.
Mhm.
papers, the video of the clients. We had to do all of
Right.
that.
Right.
The verbatims.
Yeah.
My gosh, the verbatims were one of the worst.
Mhm.
To make sure that it's kind of funny because they want you to videotape,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
and that's I understand the reason why, but that makes everyone nervous.
Make you nervous, and then they critique you
Yes.
versus
That's right.
the counselor. I mean, excuse me, the client.
Client.
Yeah, they're critiquing you to make sure you're doing what you learned and what have you. So yeah,
Yes.
I get that. And then I remember when we had to do it, we had to have on our business attire,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was not so much verbal;
Right.
it was also nonverbal
Mm-hmm.
communication. You know how you were sitting, and if you were
Body
making
language.
Yes.
if you were making eye contact, and that was just to kind of help us, redo some things, I guess, when we're actually talking to the clients, see ourselves, on the camera
Yes.
to correct it, I guess.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
true. Very true.
And I agree because in the midst of it, when you're doing that and you're trying to, try to have a counseling session with someone, and then the individual has a severe anxiety attack,
Oh yeah.
and
that
in the
moment.
midst of it,
Yeah.
doing a counseling session, and this actually happened to me.
How you gonna react? You're like, what is going on?
Real thing.
Yeah.
Real.
And knock the whole camera and everything down, and you still
You have to keep your composure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
it's
whole
okay.
thing, right.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
no problem. It's okay, and you still got to stay in the moment.
Yeah.
you know?
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
And so yes, I had one of those experiences.
That's a real moment.
yes.
So I find that you said the school that you're at now is also faith-based, and that's kind of what helped me too to decide into my journey. That played a big part of it because I feel like the world we're in now, if we don't put that piece in it,
Come on.
then what are we doing?
That's
Because we're going to
right.
just keep going around a revolving door.
That's right.
If we don't put that spiritual piece in it. And like you, the program I was in, it was really good because every class that we took, it was a faith component to it. And they made sure that the students were grounded and had that foundation in that before we moved forward, to the clients. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's all
Yeah, I mean, my experience definitely faith-based as well. My journey was a little bit different. My path started I wanted to be a nurse. And so the more I got understanding of what that looked like, I'm like, yeah, maybe this isn't for me. It got real quick. And so, of course, Psychology 101, my advisor, the professor that taught that class, it was just something about the way he was just breaking it down, just about the mind and how understanding how people function. And that just drew me to that. And
Right.
so the rest was history after that. I just
Wow. It's funny you say that because my background a little bit, and I honestly wasn't a student that really like had to read a book or do this and do that back in the day.
Right.
And I initially got my degree in nursing, which I've done that for over 20 years. And I wasn't planning to go back to school. And I kept seeing in the Sunday paper, I kept seeing this orientation for the Christian counseling.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, that's cute, but yeah, I'm not going back to school.
That's cool
Yeah,
component.
right. Because again, I wasn't that student, you know. I mean, I did enough and I got what I needed, but it wasn't like I was doing extra. So I didn't plan to go back to school, but I saw that advertisement like 3 Sundays in a row. So then I went to the orientation, and then the rest was history on that.
Yep.
And I had to make that commitment like, okay, I wasn't planning to do it, but God obviously
Come on.
Yes.
That's right.
had planned for me to do it, and that was why I took that journey. And I did sacrifice a lot, like for the next 4.5 years, like anyone would for schooling.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
so very well worth it, and determined to help those in need, especially
right.
those that look like me and have some of those same experiences that I've had, even as a child, young adult, and a little bit older adult. Right. So
It's interesting how all of us are like had different journeys.
to get
Like
there.
to get to where we are. Like I went straight to college after high school. You kind of went like after like,
military,
military.
and then college,
Right.
and that was a part-time basis because by that time life happened.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, right.
And I was working full-time and going to school, and that was pretty much what it was for the nursing degree. And then years later is when I did the counseling. It was a little bit better, but still it was more full-time still.
Yeah,
You know, the workload. You guys know that, the workload, and still I was working full-time.
That's something.
But I felt like, yeah, I got to do it. And then you don't really think about it while you're in it. But then you look back and like, oh my goodness.
How did I do that?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, dedication, commitment.
Yeah. And honestly seeing the need.
Right.
I think that's what was
Big
my
time.
driving force. Yeah. And even now is the driving force because we have a lot of trauma in the community, in any community
That's
in the
right.
United States. So
That's right.
yeah, and
That's
it's
right.
much needed. Much needed.
And then for you, Miss Michelle, you switched careers altogether. You know where you are in your life right now.
Yes.
So I'm bringing this up to let the audience know, like it's
Yeah.
never too late. You
Right.
know, to follow your dreams, to follow the path, whatever path that is. It's just a matter up here. You got to be dedicated
Dedicated.
and
determined.
being very intentional. And so we never really talked about like behind the scenes of, you know, how we got to where we are now and what it takes to be a licensed mental health counselor. And so we just wanted to take the time to, you know, just bring that out just in case if anybody, especially any young people, anybody who is thinking about wanting to be a licensed mental health counselor, because we're needed big time.
Needed.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
So going back to, you know, our paths and where we are now, like where do you guys see yourselves like a year from now or maybe 5 years from now, just in your careers of, is there like a goal or a direction you're trying to go into or stay on? If that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, for me, and I've shared with you many a times,
Yeah.
Miss Crystal, I'm really looking at doing, and I have done more of a holistic approach to all of that, from the mental, the spiritual, the physical, because in actuality, you can't do one without the other well.
Right.
And I see it growing. I won't share everything, but I see it growing to a great level, not just because I don't chase money, and I've said that before, but because we're in a need for it.
Yes.
And I look at it from a preventative approach, because I believe if you don't get the kids
Come on.
by a certain age, it's harder to change an adult. So brokenhearted kids, they become, you know, souls that don't do well
Come on.
in life.
That's true. That's very
So
true.
that's kind of where I want to approach it from a preventative perspective.
that.
and then hitting all areas, the schools, the churches, the
Yep.
community. So
As a whole.
as a whole. Yeah.
Miss Michelle?
Where would I see myself? I think I mentioned this to you before. I want to take it outside the walls. I want to travel. I want to speak on this. I told you psychoeducation is one of my big ones, and the knowledge is needed. And that's the reason why they won't come into our buildings or come and see us, because they don't understand. And so if I travel, meet you where you're at,
Yeah.
Right.
Meet you where you are.
and just talk to them about these issues of mental health and what it looks like. And then to look at me and say, hey, I had mental health issues. Look at me.
Come on.
So if you can look at me and say, hey, I dealt with some issues myself, but I was able to talk to someone, and they were able to direct me and help me in that area. So why can't you step out and get some help for yourself?
Amen.
And that's the reason why a lot of our jails are full.
Oh my goodness.
Because
That's a
of that.
whole nother topic.
You
That's
know,
right.
Yeah.
I used to work with the corrections facility and with youth boys, and that's all you seen in there. And they lock them up,
Mostly minorities, right?
Yes.
Right.
but no one getting them any help.
No.
And so what I would love to do is take it outside the walls and speak to the individuals and talk to them where they are.
I love that.
What about you,
I
Miss
guess that
Crystal?
leaves me, huh?
Yes.
Okay. So, I see myself, my practice. I have a practice here in the city, 6710 Old Trail Road, Uniquely You Counseling and Wellness Center, LLC. And so I want our community to thrive. And so just to have a space, a warm, safe space for people to come and share and get the help that they need. And I want to provide that. And I just want to continue to grow. I want to continue to add on more therapists. I want to do more trainings. I want to have more interns, because it's all about education, because somebody helped me. I want to be able to bring the next person up. And so it's
That's
all
right.
about bringing people along if they are willing to listen and do the work. And so that's kind of where I see myself, just continue to thrive in the community and maybe have a couple more other practices, buildings
yeah.
per se.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
And you're good at it. Very
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
I love it. I mean, you can
Yes.
tell like when a person is really genuine.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, people can feel that if
Yeah.
you're real.
If you're real,
Come
that's
on.
that's true, and we say that we don't have a lot of therapists that look like us, but at the same time, we don't have a lot that are trying to connect with hearts
Thank you.
of people
Thank you.
and not just chase money.
Come on, it's a difference.
Because it is a
Big
difference, and I'll clarify that. No, I don't chase money, but money has come to me.
Yeah.
In doing what I feel
Yeah,
I'm called to do.
that's right.
Yeah, so
That's right.
the gifts will make room for you
Yes.
and
That's
more
it.
room,
Yes.
and
That's
put you in
it.
front of kings, right?
Yeah.
Come
Yeah.
on. Come on. She preaching.
Yeah. No.
You bring
Stop it.
So,
Stop it.
again, this is a great topic. I think this
Yes.
is part one of many topics.
Oh my
when it comes when it comes to learning how to be a licensed mental health counselor. So I enjoyed our conversation tonight, ladies. Thank you for coming, Miss Michelle.
Yeah.
I wish you all the luck and success. Like, it's already coming. I see it. And just continue to stay dedicated and just continue to be you.
That's right.
Thank you.
Because everybody that comes to you, and I can tell you this because, I work with Miss Michelle, you got that energy, that vibe that is so loving and just safe. And so I love that about you.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm being real about that,
Yeah.
okay? And so, again, this is Your Mental Health Matters. My name is Crystal Kelly. We are on the first and third Fridays of each month. And so please tune in 8:30 on those nights. Next month, we'll be coming to you with a different topic.
Yep.
So like we always say, what we say, protect your mind.
All right.